Monte Morris was the first point guard the Suns signed over the summer in free agency, but how will the arrival of Tyus Jones impact his role? I'm Gerald Bourguet, and on day 9 of our Suns season previews, we're taking a look at the Suns' backup point guard and what fans should be able to expect from him coming off the bench. For starters, Morris made his intentions clear when he was asked why he ultimately chose to join Phoenix on a vet minimum deal in free agency.
I think Phoenix was the perfect spot for me as far as opportunity and just a chance to, compete with a great team, great coach, and get a chance to win a championship.
Last year, Morris spent most of his season recovering from a quad injury that limited him to 6 games with the Detroit Pistons before they traded him to the Minnesota Timberwolves. He struggled to get his bearings on an established playoff team there while also trying to shake off the rust. So suffice it to say that Morris is very excited about the prospect of getting a full season and training camp with his new team.
With me not having the year I wanted to, despite, injury and those things, just having that hunger back and just that drive to just show the league, that I'm still that same player. Just the injuries last year was, a fluke, but I think it was a blessing in disguise for me to have this opportunity.
So what specifically can Suns fans look forward to as Morris looks to bounce back in Phoenix? First and foremost, he's a trustworthy floor general who will undoubtedly help with the Suns' horrendous turnover problem from last year. His assists aren't usually flashy, but he makes the right play, and more importantly, you'll notice how careful he is with his passes to make sure they're not getting picked off. That's been a staple of his game for a while now. In college, he set the NCAA record for assist-to-turnover ratio, and then he broke his own record as a senior. Over the last 5 years in the NBA, Monte's consistently been right behind Tyus Jones for the league leader in that category. Even last year, in a down year, he racked up 69 assists to only 7 turnovers. He had never heard the nickname before, but it's only fitting he's been called the Count of Monte Assisto.
I haven't even seen that, but it's good to know. But my mom would always be on me about taking care of the basketball. She would say, don't let them steal my purse from me. So I kind of treat the ball like my mama purse. I try to just keep everything, intact with that. But, I'm going out there just to play basketball. I've been doing this since I was like 4 years old. So just loving the game, and it kind of just comes second nature to me as far as trying to protect the basketball. I'm not trying to not make turnovers, I'm just try to play within myself and and try to play chess, not checkers.
Morris's drive and kick game will also be useful to a Suns team that needs to put more pressure on the paint. In his last healthy season, Morris ranked in the 70th percentile in drives per 75 possessions. And because he shot 73% at the rim and 54% on floaters, defenders had to respect his forays into the paint. That opens up passing lanes, and Morris ranked in the 80th percentile in drive assist rate with the Wizards. Over the last 2 years, he's placed in the 90th and 92nd percentile in assists per 75 possessions. And now he'll be surrounded with more weapons than he's ever had in his career between Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, not to mention sharpshooters like Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. Morris can also capably run a pick and roll. Having lob threats like Rudy Gobert and Kristaps Porzingis obviously helped, but aside from the alley-oops, Morris ranked in the 97th percentile in points per possession as the pick-and-roll ball handler in Washington. Yusuf Nurkic won't be throwing down dunks like these, but in the second unit, Morris will reunite with his former Nuggets teammate, Mason Plumlee. Morris and Plumlee had great chemistry together in Denver, so even though Mason doesn't have quite the same bounce at age 34 as he did back then, he and the athletic rookie Oso Ighodaro can provide Morris with alley-oop threats out of the pick and roll in the Suns' second unit. But much like Tyus Jones, Monte Morris doesn't need to pound the air out of the basketball to be effective on offense. The reason the Suns like both of these point guards so much is they can both be effective off the ball as well. Morris shot 42% from 3 last year, and for his career, he's a 41.5% shooter on catch-and-shoot threes. This game winner over the Warriors a few years ago was a prime example of that ability and his willingness to hit big shots. Being a threat to score is critical, and aside from his finishing ability and float game, Morris can also create his own offense. He's got a nice pull-up game coming off screens, and he has enough shake and bake with his handle to free himself up for shots in the mid-range. In Washington, Morris actually ranked in the 92nd percentile in points per possessions on ISOs, and now that he's fully healthy again, we should see similar spring in the 29-year-old step. The Suns want to shoot more threes, but having a ball handler who can also get his own buckets is something this bench really didn't have last year whenever 2 or 3 of the big 3 were off of the court. On the defensive side of the ball, Morris is a committed on-ball defender, using quick footwork to stick with his man and navigate through screens to stay attached to the ball handler, hounding that ball handler into tough shots and getting up a good contest without fouling. In his last healthy season in Washington, Morris ranked in the 90th percentile in on-ball perimeter defense, the 95th percentile in off-ball chaser defense, and the 94th percentile in ball screen navigation, all while placing in the 87th percentile in time spent guarding primary ball handlers. He'll be targeted pretty often at 6'2", but Morris said joining the best defense in the NBA last year motivated him, and he intends to build off that here in Phoenix.
Coming into a situation like I did in Minnesota, they were already number 1 in the league in defense, and I just didn't want to be a weak link. So I had to come straight in and, adapt real quick. But it was fun out there getting stops. I think this year was probably my best defensive year, despite coming in. But I think me putting on some muscle and stuff like that, it definitely made defense a little more easier. So I plan to be even better, here with the Suns and set the tone when my number is called.
If Morris can stay healthy, build on the best defensive season of his career, and get back to being the guy we saw in Denver and Washington on the offensive end, he's set to have a bounce-back year and re-solidify himself as one of the best backup point guards in the entire NBA. So far, his former Nuggets teammate and his new head coach seem to like what they've seen.
He's very consistent, which is easy to gel with, and then he has a great feel for the game. When he's aggressive and stepping into a shot, I think he's as good as any backup in the league, and he takes care of the ball, which I know is welcomed around here.
Yeah, I think Monte's going to fit really well with us. He's somebody that we targeted in free agency. We feel great about getting him, what he brings. I think, like you said, being able to play with it, without it, his shooting, his playmaking. He's just a good NBA player that we're excited about adding.
As always, thanks for watching today's Suns season preview. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, listen to the PHNX Suns podcast every day at 3 p.m., go read my written previews over at gophnx.com, and check back here tomorrow for our next Suns season preview on Mason Plumlee.